Mercari. Ain't said that in a really, really long time. I have, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 7 sales. Now, one of them was a bundle. So I'll show you that one in just a second. Batot, Our Generation, shoes and socks sold on Mercari, $18.75. Folkmanis Gray Shark Hand Puppet sold for $16 on an offer. Douglas Cuddle Toy Appaloosa Horse sold for $15 on an offer. And then I had a bundle of 4 items that sold for, let me move this thing out of the way, $48.28. So the first item was this Fisher-Price Little People Ronald McDonald figure. Second item was this vintage My Little Pony Princess Bush Woolly. I'd picked that up at an estate sale in that huge bucket of My Little Pony stuff that I purchased. This was in it. Polly Pocket Teddy Bear Purse and Cupcake Compact. These are more contemporary. Probably won't pick them up again, but they sold on Mercari. And then this Build-A-Bear Violet Wolf from the Great Wolf Lodge sold for in that bundle. So 48 and whatever cents it was. It's a cold, snowy morning here in East Tennessee. The snow that we were supposed to get last weekend and didn't, we got doubled. I think they're saying about 13 inches for us here in Tennessee, East Tennessee. And our town seems to be the worst in the whole area. But we've got power, we've got food, everybody's safe. So, you know, we're good.
RJ works at a local grocery store.
Yeah.
And he went to work last night because y'all, the people down here don't know how to drive real well. I don't mean to offend y'all here in East Tennessee, but growing up where we get more snow, more ice, more cold weather, I grew up used to that. So I just get out and get around, especially since we now have a 4-wheel drive truck, threw some weight in the back. I can get around. You just drive slow. That's all. So he went to work last night, and the only people that showed up was him and the manager. Everybody else that was supposed to work called out yesterday because there's some hills here. So if, like, RJ's mom really can't get out very well because there are a couple steep hills. For her to go anywhere, she has to drive on. So there are a lot of places around here like that. So it's not just that people can't drive.
It's dangerous.
It can be dangerous around here. You can slide for a long way. You've seen the videos of cars sliding down a long hill. That could happen around here. But
and we don't have the infrastructure for this because this doesn't happen. This just doesn't happen.
We've had a snow like this. This might be the deepest snow we've had since I've lived here.
Ever.
I think our deepest before this in the last, I've lived here 20 years now, was 8 inches or something maybe. And we get 3 or 4 inches, you know, every year kind of, but not 13 inches.
And no, RJ did not drive. Robert took him to work and Robert went and got him because Mama and I were both in agreement. He doesn't have the experience or the vehicle to drive in this.
So is the Tennessee grandma. And I'm sure the Missouri grandma would have said the same thing.
Exactly. But back to the issue here. My what solds for eBay, Mercari, Poshmark, and Etsy for the week of January 19th through the 25th. And based, you know, on our previous video, we switched over to Nifty. And it's been amazing. Wait till you see all the sales that I've been having. It's just like bumped. You know, I was in Etsy. I have way more sales than I normally do. And then I started cross-listing again to Mercari and Poshmark, my accounts. Robert still has all of his own stuff. And he's made some sales over in his also. So it's just been a really, really good week. I'm still only going to do the 1 week of sales. But if this keeps up, I may have to go back to the 2 what sold videos.
Y'all can't see the tabs up here. Back in the day when we were doing these, you could see how many tabs were across the top. But I kind of zoomed in on the web browser so that you could see the pictures and the text more clearly. And because how many tabs are up there isn't really matter because she's going to talk about them all anyway. But there are a lot more tabs there this week than there have been.
Lots. And so, you know, it's helping because are my sales better on eBay? No, not at all. In fact, I was going to be able to say my 2 worst days, 2 worst days of the forever. Probably my whole career was this past week, or this week that we're talking about. But no, I had a lower one this week, a lower one. So I don't know what's up with eBay, but thank goodness, I'm cross-listing again to all these platforms. It's so easy and quick. With Nifty, I'd be crazy. I think I'm up to close to 2,000, I think, on Mercari. And I'm on page 70 of 338 of cross-listing almost everything over to Mercari, and a lot of it to Poshmark also. If it's over £5, I don't. If it's below $10, I haven't been. So, but otherwise, everything's going to those two platforms.
And the reason you don't do the under $10 to Poshmark is because they have a minimum $2.95 selling fee. So
under $15 is $2.95 fee.
And if you sell a $7 item and you got $3 in fees, you're down to $4 plus what your time and your packaging and everything you got in. It's just kind of not really worth it at that point.
Except I did sell something on there for $7 on an offer. But it was a really old listing, and I thought, I'm going to make the $4.05. I'm just to make it gone. So I'm not going to say never will I, because, but the fact that I also send out 10% offers to likers on there, then you're already talking 30%. So, I'm, for the most part, am not putting anything under $10 over there.
And Nifty is sending those offers for us on Mercari and Depop and Poshmark.
Poshmark, yep. I'm still doing eBay. Offers because sometimes I fluctuate it depending on how long it's been listed. But otherwise, Nifty's doing everything. Just absolutely everything for me. And then on Poshmark, I sold 2 things right away because we had just started cross-listing to all of these platforms. I sold this Aurora Brown Furry Cat Plush on an offer for $15. And not even my biggest sell for this week. It was actually on eBay, but this sold instantly. I put it on Nifty, cross-listed it to Mercari and Poshmark, and I got an instant offer on Poshmark. This was the Fugler Purple Bat Plush that I showed in a recent haul, and I took a best offer of $125 on there. So for those of you who aren't very familiar with Poshmark, they take 20% in fees, so I made $100 on this sale. And then Etsy had quite a few sales on there also. And y'all, I haven't started my sale on Etsy yet. So all of these were sold on a 10% sale, but it doesn't show up. It only shows the prices of whatever currently is happening in your store. But I had a 10% sale for the whole month of January. So this ended up selling for $26.95. This is a Thai Pluffies Whiffer Dog. We just recently picked this up at the bins in Asheville, so didn't have very much in it. And then I picked up a whole bunch of stuff at my favorite little estate sale company a while back. A whole bunch of Wizard of Oz, and I'm down to just a few pieces I think left. And this was actually, I didn't have this listed. It got set on a shelf, and then I found it next door, brought it over here, listed it, and it sold pretty quickly. This is a vanity plate from 2004, and it sold for 10% off of the $24.95. Picked these up a long time ago. I will not pick up these copper pencil sharpener toys again, but the funny thing is I had just cross-listed this to Etsy, and it sold 10% off $14.95. You just never know. Put it on a different platform and it sells instantly. This is 24K Polar Puff Mighty Star. Cute little duck. Sold for 10% off the $14.95. Gon's Floppies Ricky the Monkey. Sold for $17.95. This is a Tommy Thomas the Train Cars lot. Got a 3-star review on this. It It is what it is, except, you know, you can just respond like on eBay. The problem with this is the person had sent me a message saying, first they wanted to cancel because their child bought it. And then he sent me another message that said, never mind, I'll go ahead and buy it and give it to him. Well, obviously he did not read the description because a lot of the connectors were stretched open. In the pictures I have show it, and in the words. And one of them was broken. And that's what he hit me on. A 3-star for, you know, that they were broken. I listed them very cheap because I know you can replace them. My grandson loved Thomas when he was little. And I remember my son saying, you can just buy and replace all of those connectors. Kids are what, you know, kids are rough with their toys. And a lot of times they did get stretched out. So unfortunately, there's not much you can do about, you know, Etsy doesn't review. They don't change feedback. So I'm stuck with the 3-star, but I just responded to it. It is what it is, right? All right. Applause Duckworth Duckling Plush sold for $26.95. This Snoopy Thermos lunchbox without the drink thermos sold for $12.95 minus 10%. And then this Disney Chipmunks Chippendale plush sold for the $9.95 minus 10%. I have started putting some of my older but less, you know, the $9.95s and stuff over on Etsy, and they're selling. And then eBay. Lots of bread and butter. White Puffball Bear plush sold for $9.45. This is a Walmart White Rabbit plush sold for $20. Now all of this is plus shipping. This person bought the 2 Bauer ceramic yellow coffee cups. I had 2 listed. They had different conditions, so I had listed them separately. But she ended up paying $29 for the 2 of them and has already left me wonderful feedback. Blah, blah. Hercules Elephant plush sold for $15. Fisher-Price Dollhouse cushions sold for $9.45. Now that Robert's doing most of my shipping, a lot of times when I'm setting up this video, I'm like, ooh, I didn't know that sold. You know, I see my solds, but I don't really see my solds, especially when I'm not pulling them to pack a lot of times. But this was an older listing, so I'm glad to see that it has moved. Wild Republic Tree Frog plush sold for $17.05. Selling the lots, y'all. This was one of the little figures I picked up at the Nashville bins, and found somebody discarded a whole pile of vintage Polly Pocket stuff. I had the wedding set, but he was extra, so I think I've already sold the wedding set. But just this one little teeny tiny 1-inch figure sold on an offer for $20. Peanuts Applause Lucy doll sold for $37.95. Gund Snuffles White Polar Bear plush sold for $18.95. Snuffles is one of those ones I pick up all the time. Most of them, you know, 20 bucks or so. There are a couple that sell for a lot. It's about the color. It's about if it was like a collaboration with something else. There's several that I've seen just recently that sold for quite a bit. World of Pandora. Not something I'm going to pick up again. They just do not sell well, so I was glad to get a $10 offer on them. Dandy Honey Dog from the Sam series sold for $20. I pick up most Sad Sam and Honey. They just seem to be one of those things that's nostalgia and people are always looking for them. Fluff Tough Tropical Bird plush. Come to find out, I think this was a pet toy sold for $14.95. Applause Disney 101 Dalmatians Whizzer sold for $13. This is, I think I found like 4 of these at an estate sale in like a box lot of stuff I picked up. Probably for like a quarter or 50 cents. This is the last one to sell, and it sold for $8.50. Just a teeny tiny little sheep figure, probably for a vintage Hallmark nativity. Applause. Happy birthday, Donald Duck. Y'all, this has been listed forever. Forever. I remember exactly when I purchased it. It was, this person had a bunch of vintage plush out in a shed, and I ended up picking up 3 or 4 different Applause character plush. Took forever. $9.45. Fisher Price Brilliant Basics doll sold for $18.95. I don't find these very often anymore, but it's probably one I would continue to pick up because it's Fisher Price. Hanna-Barbera Betty Rubble from the Flintstone series, which I didn't even put the word Flintstones in there, sold for $8.76. Moline-X La Machine replacement mixer part sold for $9.45. Not something that we'll continue to pick up probably.
I think that's one of those like food processor type things that you could put a mixer attachment on.
I think so, yeah. Beauty and the Beast Philippe horse plush sold for $24.95. Dandy brown dog plush sold for $12.95. Sugarloaf weightlifting bear plush sold on an offer for $20. Disney Chicken Little posable block sold for $10. Walmart brown dog plush sold for $9.95. Wood dog artists articulated thing. I think this might be IKEA. Sold for $22.45. Kelly Toy brown monkey plush with a rattle sold for $17.95. Carter's dog musical crib plush sold for $17.95. Baby Gon's blue dashing monkey sold for $15.25. Another lot. These are Mioni by Aurora farm animals, sold for $18. Sanrio Spotty Dotty wallet. Picked this up, I think it was 50 cents at a yard sale this past summer. Had it priced kind of high. There weren't any like it on eBay, just others similar. This one sold for an offer of $34.95. Walmart Chimp Ape plush. This one was the one that has the flocked face, but it wasn't. What is that one called? It starts with an H.
Harambe?
Nope. What is it? I cannot remember. Dang it. Dang it. Sold for $24.95. Stanley Roberts Astro knife set. I sold quite a few of these right when I first listed them, but it just seems the butter knives are always the hardest to sell. These sold for $12. Circo blue teal gray elephant sold for $9.95. 24K polar puff special effects bear sold for $17.95. My best sale was the micro machines. I picked these up at a yard sale this summer. I don't remember how much I paid for everything. I ended up finding more bags after I had done this huge lot. So I don't even know how many bags I ended up having. I want to say $50, maybe $60 for all of it. But again, I had it in several different lots. But I don't even know if it was that much. But nevertheless, this lot I ended up selling for $150 on eBay.
We bought quite a bit of stuff from that lady.
We bought a lot that day. I mean, little figures and just lots of vintage toys. I don't remember how much. I want to say it was 50 or 60 for all of it. And then to Robert. Y'all, we should do a poll. How many people want Robert to do his own what solds?
I don't
I think
so,
that
Tim.
would be fun. I think that would be fun. It would make him appreciate, that just what all goes into making these videos.
You know what?
What?
I think I'm in agreement with you. I should do the sales on this.
No.
What's wrong?
Because I know where you're going with this. Then I have to do the editing of the videos.
Absolutely.
Okay, I take that back. I take it back. All right. This is a first too for Robert. He had one sale on Mercari, which all of this has been previously cross-listed. None of this was, done through Nifty, but all of a sudden we're making all of these sales. So I don't know what's, is there some correlation? I don't know. We are having it do offers for us now. We're also having it do the renewals, which we're not that far. Well, it probably did some for Mercari. So, I think it's all just going to get better and better. The first thing that sold for him off of eBay was this Maison Chic Fox plush. This is a nice sale. Sold on Mercari for $69.95. And then he had 3 sales on Poshmark. First thing was this Briar Tan Horse lot of 2. Sold for $22. Lots of Aurora. This was a skunk, fennec fox, and raccoon set, sold for $15. And this vintage Littlest Pet Shop set sold for $30. And then on eBay. Now again, this is for the whole week of January 19th through the 25th. Sold a pair of shoes. Clark's size 10, sold for $20. BKE Kate women's jeans sold for $23.45. The hats have been in my store forever and ever. And this one sold on his store. $15 for a caterpillar mesh snapback hat. Wrangler women's Q-Baby jeans sold for $23.45. Definitely one of the women's Wranglers to be on the lookout for. Robert Scott women's sweater sold for $13.50. Talbot's slim ankle jeans. I like picking up Talbots. They sell. This pair sold for $19. Roman's women's A-line denim skirt sold for $15. Converse Chuck Taylor I Love Heart sneakers sold for $20. Another pair of Talbot's women's 6 petite jeans. I'm pretty sure this came from the estate sale that we went to. Everything was 50 cents. And these sold for $18. LL Bean women's jeans. These are the double L flannel lined, sold for $22. Orvis women's sweater sold for $17.71. And not from the same person, this Orvis women's shirt, extra large, sold for $18.43. All right. It's fingers crossed. It's just going to keep getting better and better and better. I am motivated and ready, even though it's freezing in here, to get some more get some more stuff listed. We've got a very fun haul video to come out probably in the next day or so. Lots and lots of treasures, so be on the lookout for that. And otherwise, it's time to get to work. Bye.